In this video, I answer the question, can a Manifold set really compete with a dedicated vacuum rig? Let's find out. Boys and girls, my name is Zach Ciota, and I'm the host of the HVAC Shop Talk podcast, and I'm the owner of this channel, HVAC Shop Talk. And, you know, I like to challenge what I hear. When I hear that certain things are better than other things, I like to not just take people's word for it. If it's possible, I like to challenge it. So you see some stuff laid out in front of me right here. I have the Yellow Jacket P51-870 gauges. I have a True Blue hose, which is a vacuum hose of the highest quality. We've tested that before. I feel pretty comfortable going with highest quality available. We have the Navac 4 CFM battery vacuum pump, a vacuum pump that I love, and is also powered by this fine battery, the 18 volt 9 amp hour battery. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take this vacuum pump and we're going to pull a vacuum on the gauge set, and we're going to pull a vacuum on the True Blue hose, and we're going to see how big of a difference we have with our ultimate micron reading, because we've always heard people say, you know what, you can't pull your vacuum through a manifold, it doesn't work as well. Now we know speed, we see speed is going to be a problem, because as we look down here we see little tiny hoses and small openings, so we know the speed's going to be slower, but can we actually reach a similar micron level within a few minutes? This excludes the system. So a lot of guys on my previous test said, well, it doesn't mean anything unless you have a big volume. I want to know what the ultimate vacuum is, and I don't want the system to skew the reading. If you have a huge volume, then the discrepancy is going to be smaller after X amount of time. That's what I think. I may be wrong about that, and like I said, I'm full of wronginess. But we're going to just pull a vacuum on this. We're going to let it run for 10 minutes and compare the micron readings so we can see or just get a general idea how much improvement is there pulling from this True Blue hose over the gauge set, if any at all. I suspect there will be a difference, but let's find out. So the Navac pump has three different connections right here. We have 1/2 inch, 3/8, and 1/4. This hose already has a 1/2 inch and 1/4 on it, I believe. You can see a larger end here. So let's hook up the large end to the pump to give it the biggest advantage. So we're going to be using the new Yellow Jacket vacuum gauge. It's one of the YJack probes. Brand new, has a display, and you can look at it through the app as well, the YJack View app. So we're going to hook that up and use it for both tests just to make it uniform. As you see the display on here, we have a display button on, off, units, and target. I think the target's 15 microns there. That's what we're looking at. Let's see, 200, 300, 400, 500. So we're going to see how it works. This is the first time I've used it, so we should be able to see here shortly how it falls down. It's supposed to have a pretty high reading, pretty accurate reading, so let's find out, guys. Let's turn it on and rock and roll. We're going to start a 10-minute timer as soon as I open the valve. There we are, and I'm going to start the 10-minute timer right now. You guys can see the timer counting down on my watch. I'm sitting here doing my experiment. You can see it right here, and if you ever want me to do anything like this for a product that you have, or you want me to compare something, if it's within my power, just let me know and I'll be happy to do it. I know sometimes things are expensive and I can't do that, but a lot of times if you ask a tool company or something, we'll have one of these competitions. They've been pretty good to me about sending stuff out, even when their stuff didn't win the competition, like the leak detectors back in the day. But let me know if you have any questions or anything you'd like to see happen, and I will try my best to make it happen. All right, let's get back to this and let's see who wins this little competition. So our micron reading was just above 100 microns. That was after 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this rig off. We're going to put the P51s on it. We're going to have both the hoses still connected to the P51. I'm going to hook up a micron gauge to the other port where I normally put refrigerant in, and we're going to read it from right there. So let's get it all hooked up and we'll get right back to it. You know, the fun part of shooting video is the fact that you never know what's going to happen, and there's a fan running in the background, guys, and you can see it down there. There's a fan running in the background because both of these cameras right here overheated. Both of the cameras overheated while I was trying to use them, so I have to let them cool down with the fan so we can get back after it. But when we come back, we're going to have that Yellow Jacket manifold that's right over here, the P51870. We're going to see how it does with the one hose set up, pulling through the manifold, having to evacuate that manifold, all those opportunities for leaks right there. How significant will it be? We're shooting to be about 103, 104 microns. It kind of wavered right there, right at the end. So let's let these things cool down, and then we can get back here and see who wins this thing. So I have everything hooked up here. I had the P51870s and the NAVAC pump. We're gonna go ahead and turn this thing on. Make sure our micron gauge is still on here. Probably isn't because we let it sit. So turn that back on. 10 minutes, we're off and running. Let's start up the pump. Get it going. We're open here. We'll make sure those microns start dropping because we want to make sure we have everything open basically. And we'll catch up with you guys in about 10 minutes. All right, so we can turn this thing off, guys. This thing not getting the job done. Vacuum pump's hot. Get our button. Vacuum pump's hot. Our rig here, we have the NAVAC 4CFM. We have the P51s. We're pulling through the gauges through one hose. And taking a look at these hoses, you can see that they have valves on each of the hoses. There's two of those. There's valves here in the manifold. There's one section unused. It's valve shut. But of course, you know, if it leaks by that valve, if it's not sealed and ready for vacuum, then it ain't gonna work very well. So I think this kind of solidifies the point that manifolds are not good for pulling a nice deep vacuum. They're good for testing, but they're not good for getting into that deep vacuum. So I hope that proves this point. We can continue to test this. Like I said, if you guys have any questions or concerns, I mean, this isn't a perfect test. I admit that. This is some of the stuff that I have here at the house pitted against each other. And there's a huge discrepancy between 700 microns and 100 microns. So what went wrong? We could speculate that there were issues with the hoses. I mean, I've used them on all my service calls, so I don't think they leak. Well, they don't leak in a way where it shows up on a service call under positive pressure. There's not a significant enough leak to notice, but it could be a leak under vacuum, or it could be a really small leak that I just didn't notice. Everything was tightened up. All the ball valves were open. The hoses were pitted up against the park spots, or the suction side hose was, so no problems there. You can see, let's take a look again. I did use a fresh battery. As you guys can see, I'm holding up the old battery. I replaced them in between. I charged both of them up before we got started. These batteries haven't been used a ton, not like you guys who are doing the service work every single day. These batteries have been used a handful of times on the systems that I've had to commission, like here at the house, and a few repairs that I've done. So not a whole lot of usage, so they should be at max capacity. So, findings, better to use a vacuum rig. True Blue's pretty good. Any vacuum rig is better than using your gauges. I think we can all agree on that. And we're going to continue to do experiments like this. Let me know what you want to see, or else I'll be coming up with my own crazy crap to do, which is fine with me. I can come up with crazy crap all the live long day. No worries, guys. But as for this one, I think it's pretty clear who won. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you change or how you do it differently, and maybe we can tackle this again with some different equipment or a different sort of arrangement. This channel is to guide you guys and hopefully give you some insight on what these different products can do, as well as, you know, we have all sorts of stuff that goes on in this channel, but this video is supposed to illuminate how you're supposed to do your job and what it's like in a practical world. So how does this stuff work when you take it off the truck? I mean, it's not what's written on a page, it's what actually happens when you hook it up. You know, no one uses brand new hoses every single time. There's not brand new oil every single time, although that's probably a little bit more important than the hoses every time. But it hasn't been heavily used, but still, it has been used. I'm Zach Ciota. This is HVAC Shop Talk, and I will see you guys on the next one.